Well, welcome back to the Doctors and Dragons podcast series, episode 2 of season 1, The End of the King's Road. This podcast, as you all clearly know, is a podcast dedicated on reviewing and commentating over the shows Doctor Who and Game of Thrones. With me, I have Ryan. I am
Hey Bryce,
Bryce.
I would have to say that this intro is going a lot smoother than the last one.
The one where it was just a bunch of laughter and
No,
then a
I mean the
bunch of
one that
fumbling.
I mean the one where I started early and then you restarted the recording.
Oh.
That's the one I'm referring to.
And it appears we have a third member in this call. Would he like to introduce himself?
Yeah, we're joined again by our friend William, and William, you have some experience with hostage situations, so you might have some valuable input on this podcast.
Yeah, while watching this Doctor Who episode, I kept having flashbacks, remembering my experiences. So, about, what was that, like 6 days ago? Yeah, that's about right. I made my annual pilgrimage to Blessed Syria. And
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I took a wrong turn after hitting the Levant region and got dicey. So I was captured by terrorists, as things go. And I have some similar experiences. For instance, because it's a big desert region, terrorists are very obsessed with moisture, which I was very...
Oh no.
So I was a moisture slave for about
A
5
moisture slave?
Yes.
Isn't that
My
what
job was
Hang on,
to...
isn't that what Luke Skywalker's family did? Weren't they moisture farmers on Tatooine?
Don't ruin my story.
This isn't about Star Wars. This is about Doctor Who, damn it.
So
and
I actually
dragons.
performed the exact same job as the attendants of the human in this Doctor Who.
Oh boy.
And
Okay.
that's my experience with this situation. So I am an expert.
Well, clearly you have some relevant commentary to add when we get into the episode discussion. Before we jump in, though, I have one thing we need to address. We need a phrase for when a character comes back from the dead. Because when a character dies, we say "Good God, Captain," as is now famous, and we need something to say when a character comes back from the dead. Because that happened in this episode of Game of Thrones, and it's going to happen again during this podcast. I know it. So we need to come up with something.
Should be related to Good God, Captain, or should be something else?
Well, my default thing, the first thing that I thought of was, so that's where you're wrong, kiddo.
So
But
that's kind of an established thing.
that's an established thing, and it is related to Good God, Captain in a way.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go with that if you guys don't have anything better.
That is true.
We could go with that for now. If we come up with something along the way, we can always change it.
Okay. We can go with that for now. All right, so do you guys want to get right into Doctor Who then?
Yeah, that should work.
All right, let's jump in. So, before we start breaking down the episode, what did you guys think overall? Bryce?
The second episode of Doctor Who was better.
The End of the World.
It was better than the last one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I don't know if that had to do with the boyfriend not being here, because I think that just elevated the quality by so much more than it previously was.
Yeah.
Plus, it had Tainted Love in it, and that just already is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I know. That song's been stuck in my head now for a
Like-
day or two.
Okay, so I watched this episode on Sunday. The whole week I'd been listening to Tainted Love. Unironically, like, I just like that song a lot. It's
such a good song.
It's one of those, like, quintessential, like, if I just wanna, like, untilt myself when I'm, like, playing something like League, I'll just put on Tainted Love, and the whole entire day will just elevate in quality. because you can just sing along to some of the best pre-post-punk 80s music you could think of.
Wouldn't that just be punk? Do the pre and the post cancel out?
See, post-punk is a weird
Okay,
genre.
I
but-
really didn't want to get into this. That was a dumb joke.
I was gonna genuinely answer that question.
I know you were.
All right.
Alright.
So it starts off with him, being all
Yeah, so-
girly and goofy in time travel. Let's go
Mhm.
100 years, or 1,000 years, or 5 billion years.
Yeah, that seemed unnecessary to me.
I thought it
Um,
was okay. I mean, it was one of those like little cutesy scenes, and it kind of fit the tone that the show had already developed at this point, which
Yeah.
I'm going to assume is gonna change drastically soon.
So by the way, you mentioned Mickey. You alluded to him.
Yeah,
He will come back.
yeah, I
in
know.
Spoiler.
I'm not
And,
excited.
well, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think of those episodes that he's in the future, and whether their quality is indeed lower than the quality of the other episodes.
Just because he's in it.
But here's a little bit of a teaser for you. I have been watching ahead on Doctor Who. I'm actually almost to the end of season 2 now on my rewatch.
Wow.
And coming up this
How dare
season,
you.
coming up this season on Doctors and Dragons, because my partner on this podcast, Bryce, has failed to come up with a theory about Mickey, I came up with one. So when we get to the appropriate episode later this season, I will have a good theory about Mickey Smith. And that's your teaser.
And this is a theory I'm assuming will never be confirmed in the show.
We'll see about that.
But
I think
Okay.
it certainly will never be denied by the show.
got it. Okay. Good God.
Anyway, let's return now to the year 5.5-Apple-26,
Yep.
which is
5
5
billion.
billion years in the future.
Yep. Well, so they're introduced to blue people giving them hospitality.
Yep. I also
And-
like that Platform 1 forbids the use of weapons, teleportation, and religion. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh man.
So what did you guys think about the psychic paper? See that for
Psych-
the first time.
Yeah, that was fine. I didn't think much of it, I guess. I just thought, oh yeah, that's a Doctor Who thing.
Yeah,
Like,
he
it's
always
one of
carries
those like
psychic
the
paper.
sonic screwdriver. I'm just like, yep, that's a thing.
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
just going with it.
Is that like really common for him to whip out like a new gadget or something?
Is it like Go-Go to Gadget psychic
Wait.
paper?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that means,
What?
really.
Have you never
Okay,
seen
I
the
get it's an Inspector Gadget
Yeah,
reference.
it's
but
Inspector Gadget.
Anyway, no, so the psychic paper is one of those things like the sonic screwdriver that he just kind of carries around all the time. It's useful. You'll see it again, definitely. Lots of times. But yeah, he just kind of, it's whatever he wants the other person to think is on there. So, like, there's a later episode where he needs...
Hey.
Okay,
Hey.
you don't want me to spoil this, but it's so far
No.
away from now that
No,
you're
no,
going to
no, no, no.
forget by then.
No, Ryan.
Okay, it's fine. I won't.
Ryan. There you go. Anyway, we're introduced to different creatures and aliens and
Yeah, I wrote
races
some of their
alike.
names down.
trees.
So they're the
Weird
trees.
head man in a glass thing.
He was creepy.
That was the face
Okay.
of Bo.
The
Yeah.
the dark four horses of the apocalypse.
No.
Yeah,
I
that's
wrote
their
them all
race.
down. This is what they were. So it was the trees, which was Jabe, Lute, and Kaffa. Then there was the Mox of Balhoun, which was the blue guy.
Yep.
Then the adherents of the repeated meme. They turned out to be bad guys. And then
Wow.
inventors of the hyposlip travel systems, the brothers Hop Pyleen, Mr. and Mrs. Paku,
Cool.
the ambassadors from the city-state of Binding Light, the face of Bo, Cassandra, of course, the bitchy trampoline, and then Khal Sparkplug was the other one. I feel like at a
Khal
certain point,
Sparkplug.
I feel like at a certain point, the writers just stopped trying to come up with like inventive alien names. They're just like, yeah, Khal Sparkplug, that'll do. I don't know.
Yeah, but that seems to be like it makes okay because it's Doctor Who. They could name a character anything and people just go with it. They kind of have
Yeah.
that liberty going for it. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
it's
they can just kind of do whatever they want, and the people who are watching Doctor Who are gonna be like, okay,
yeah, you're right.
this
I
makes
mean,
sense universally because Doctor Who has the consistency.
it's just like
Yeah,
they had these like very alien sounding names, and then Khal Sparkplug.
that's right, Gordon.
Gordon, yeah. There you go. SpongeBob reference again.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
man, we're gonna
if you're
have a lot
not
of those.
referencing SpongeBob in every episode, then we're
Yeah,
doing it wrong.
gotta
Anyway,
we've got to find a way to reference iCarly too.
so we
'Cause we
got
did
the
that. We did that last time.
so the last human, which is now just a trampoline with a
Yep,
face.
Cassandra O'Brien Delta 17.
Yep. She brings in some relics of the past, calling them, like iPod,
Yep, the
a
iPod.
jukebox, an
Jukebox.
iPod that plays Tainted Love.
Yeah, and the ostrich egg, and
The
I believe she said that it had a wingspan of 50 feet or something
and it could
ridiculous like
breathe
that.
fire.
It could breathe fire from its nostrils.
And yeah, I got basically everything. I kind of just was like, I went with everything this episode,
Yeah.
I guess, more than anything. I thought
Yeah,
that the
there was
scene with the
some-
janitor was pretty wholesome.
Yeah, there was some silly stuff in there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
It wasn't.
really
It didn't
out of the
distract
question.
me. It didn't annoy me. Didn't
Yeah,
aggravate
not
me.
like
I wasn't
like Mickey
offended by
did.
it.
Not like with Mickey in the first episode, where it was just so distracting
Yeah.
that it just took away from the story because he was so
I just
horrible
didn't
as a
want him
character.
to be a thing anymore. Like I kind of wanted him to fall into the plastic, the molten plastic, and I've just been like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think of how Jabe, the tree lady, seemed like super into the Doctor?
I mean, who wasn't into the Doctor?
By the way, I after the last podcast, I did look at a couple of pictures of Christopher Eccleston and Chester Bennington side by side, and I concluded they do kind of look alike.
Wow.
So I think Bryce was onto something there.
Yeah. It's all.
Yeah. I said something false about Christopher Eccleston in the last episode. He is British. He's just from Manchester, which is in northern England. He doesn't have the London accent that we typically think of as the British accent.
Well, yeah.
And I said in the last episode that he wasn't British, but he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Best commentary I could give to that is yeah.
Okay, thanks, Bryce. So moving on then. So, yep, Jabe is like in awe of the Doctor because she's never seen that species of alien before.
Wow. She's never seen a Time Lord before.
Right, and we find out at the end of this episode that he is a Time Lord because he
The
tells
only
us
Time Lord. The last one.
He's the last
because
one, yeah.
His planet is gonorrhea. And his people are diarrhea. Floating in space. That is the scientific term, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So we get the scene with Ruffalo, I don't know.
Yeah, the janitor.
The janitor / plumber, whatever she was.
Yeah.
So she has I like that conversation between her and Rose because like Rose is having to sort of.
Yes.
She does this a few times where
Yeah.
she's like.
There was one awkward scene in this.
I followed this guy. I just kind of got in the box and followed this guy. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, she'll have like these brief moments where she's like questioning herself, and then like by the end of the episode, it's like nothing ever happened. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, yep, we're just gonna
Character
keep on going.
development? Nah.
Nah, no, we're gonna
Nah.
ignore that. Like we'll make mention of it, but actually develop a character? No, we don't need
Is
to.
Doctor
Don't need
Who
it.
always this goofy?
No, it's not always this
Okay,
goofy.
because this one was like extra goofy of an episode.
It was. I feel like they were trying to make it that way deliberately.
I think they're trying to give it a lighter tone.
They're trying to make it seem like the aliens are just so alien.
I
know.
don't know why she was so. It was so awkward why she was acting like what the fuck did you expect?
Yeah, and it's that whole scene, by the way, and we're jumping ahead a little bit, but that whole scene where she's just talking with the doctor and she says the aliens are so alien, and then she's like, "Where are you from?" and he just like refuses to give up any information at all.
I think
It's
the
just
worst
a
scene
stupid scene.
in this episode was the one where Rose just kind of goes up to the trampoline and is really bitchy. It's like this is pointless. This was just mean. This is just a plot device.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the trampoline.
That
yet. She
seems
walks
out
up
of
and
character.
turns to her.
That seems like so out of character. Like, oh, I'm offended. You would call yourself a human because you've had surgery. It's
Yeah.
like what? No, what? Who cares? What?
Rose,
Is she like racist or something to aliens?
she
like,
seems
we're
kind of
the
prejudiced in this episode.
Yeah, she's got some Rose, what was that thing about an Islamic State?
Yeah. So,
Rose, one people is not.
So anyway, going back to the Ruffalo conversation,
Oh, yeah.
she has to go into this maintenance duct and try to. I don't remember what the issue was. It was like it was too hot in the face of Bo's room or something.
Yeah, it was someone was
And,
having problems.
So she had to crawl into this vent, and she meets these little metal spider things.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we need to just check you in. Oh, you have a friend? How
Need
many
to
are there? Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm dead.
Good God, Captain.
Good God.
And, so.
Alright.
So, yeah, so she gets killed by these spider things, and then we see the steward, who is the one who's operating this space station. Although, really, it's computer operated, we find out. But he's the one kind of running this whole, I don't know what you call it, conference. But we see him in his office, and I like when he goes over the intercom, and he's like, will the owner of the blue box please report to the steward's office? But I thought that was funny.
I actually never caught that.
That was, and then later you see the doctor, his TARDIS is being carried off by these blue guys.
Yeah, they're just
he's
like,
hey, park it gently, or whatever.
yeah, all that, like, please, it's expensive. Don't ruin my ride.
Yeah, don't scratch the paint. So anyway, the steward then, the spider comes into his office and lowers the sun. What was it? The
sun. It's like it deflects the sun.
I know that I wrote this down somewhere.
It deflects the sun. That's what's important.
The sun filter. That's what it was
Sun
called.
filter.
I kept wanting to say sunscreen, but that's something else.
Is it because the sun's exploding that it has brighter rays, meaning that they need a filter to protect it? Or is it just naturally brighter? Because it doesn't make any sense to me, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's because the sun is exploding that it's particularly hot. And so it's hazardous to be there, so that's why they need the sun filter. That's how I understood it.
That's how I kind of went with it.
And then I'm curious if you guys caught this right after the steward gets killed, when they're transitioning into the next scene, you hear the Mox of Balhoun talking to, I think he was talking to the face of Bo, and he mentions the classic bad wolf scenario.
The classic I don't know what that means though.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, it's in passing. You just hear it in the background. You kind of only catch it if you're listening for it. But
Bad wolf scenario.
The bad wolf scenario.
Bad ghost.
Bad wolf. And
Bad ghost.
if you guys, I mean, you don't know what it means yet, but it's significant. And
It's
you
the
only
name
know
of
that
our
because I'm
season,
telling
dude.
you. It has to do with the name of our first season, Bad Ghosts. That's the Doctor Who half of it comes from Bad Wolf. So anyway, that happened. Just remember that in future episodes.
It's like, hey, by the way, this is foreshadow.
Just keep that in mind. Watch for Bad Wolf in future episodes.
All right, so the next
Um,
scene is when Rose is being mean, and I kind of
Yep.
wanted to skip that. At this
Yep,
point,
she calls Cassandra a bitchy trampoline.
and then there was sadness for a
Yeah.
brief moment,
Uh,
and then Britney Spears
Yeah.
starts playing.
well, now you skipped some stuff there. There's well, Jabe is talking to the doctor, and we find out that she is a direct descendant of the tropical rainforest from Earth.
Yes, she is,
So that was interesting.
which is pretty cool.
I guess. By the way, it's disturbing to me that her gift of peace to everybody was a cutting of her grandfather. That just seemed a little bit
Nah.
weird to me.
Hey, there
I
are some
did like-
societies on Earth that like worship their ancestors to a point where it's creepy. We just kind of
Well,
go with it.
Okay. I did like when
I
Rose
mean, we
has the
cremate
cutting.
people. I mean, we literally burn people on fire and worship their ashes.
I don't think okay.
Some
I'm just
people.
gonna let that go.
Some people do.
I liked when Rose had the cutting from Jabe's grandfather and was talking to it. She's like, "My
Yeah,
name is Rose.
and
That's a
I'm
sort of plant.
Talking to a twig.
Yeah, maybe we're related." That was, but that goes back to William's point of just this episode being super goofy. And
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
think it's like she's trying to figure out what's happening right now.
yeah, it's kind of a, it's her first time off of Earth. It's her first journey with the Doctor, I guess.
Trying to adjust. Oh man, sorry about that.
All right.
What was that?
We'll deal with it.
What was that?
I'm just disappointed in you, Bryce.
That's nothing new. Why would you have to groan in it this time?
At this point, I'm just really tired of this. I'm tired of putting up with your shit, Bryce.
Yes, I'm tired of putting up with my shit too. It just
If
clogs the toilet.
If we didn't have ones of listeners, I would stop this podcast right now. And by the way, hiya, Kyle. Shout out to our friend Kyle, who is so far the only person who has listened to this besides us.
Hey, Kyle.
You don't
yeah.
know that.
Well, no, but he was the only person the last time I checked.
Maybe we have hundreds of thousands of people watching now. Comments, arguing about your theories.
There could be multiple Kyles.
Yeah.
It's possible, but very, very unlikely.
Almost as unlikely as a sun filter descending when you're on your spaceship. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, I feel like there should be more safety protocols than there were.
Like there's
to prevent that.
Button open on the desk.
The spider just pressed one button on that keyboard.
No, it's all automated. It makes sense.
No, but what's to prevent someone from like accidentally pressing that button?
It's just like knocking it. Oh, oops! I'm about to roast.
It's one button that makes the sun filter go down, and then the guy dies. It's like,
Yep.
There needed to be like more safety protocols than that, I feel.
Nah.
Like
Why was it in the room? Like, it would make more sense if it was outside of the room.
Yeah, that's true too. Because like, why would anybody ever press that?
I mean, what if somebody just didn't feel it anymore? Just in that moment.
It's funny that you bring that up. Well, okay. I won't say anything now, but
Stop
It's-
spoiling.
yeah, I won't spoil anything. But it is funny that you mentioned that. But yeah, why would they have the button inside the room that's about to be blasted with radiation from the sun?
Just
That seems like poor planning to me.
they're homing. They're homely. They're all cozy. They want to make sure that guests have full control.
Including full control over their own deaths.
Yes.
But the
You
steward
get
isn't
to
a
say
guest.
how
He
you die.
works there.
Yeah, but isn't that every room that has one of those switches in it? That's what I just kind of took from it.
Yeah, seems that way, because then later we see that they're trying to kill Rose in the same fashion.
Yep.
That is after the adherents of the repeated meme knock Rose out and drag her into a room. Which
Happens a lot, I guess.
yeah, I mean, in the first episode, it was Mickey who got captured, and now it's Rose getting captured, and the doctor has to go rescue him.
Yeah.
That does kind of happen a lot.
I mean, the doctor is supposed to be the smart one.
Yeah, and I guess, it wouldn't be exciting if he didn't have someone to save.
Yeah. A damsel in distress, quite literally.
By the way, the steward was killed when the sun filter went down. I don't know if I said "Good God, Captain" when we.
Good God.
No, you didn't say it, but yes,
Yeah,
good God.
I got it. I got it now. So good God, Captain. So where are we? They're
You
trying
could just say a
to-
bunch of good God captains now to make up for deaths later, just to prepare. So that if
I think
forget,
that our loyal listeners will point it out if I miss one.
our loyal list
Our loyal listener.
giving him like fuck.
Of course, Kyle doesn't even watch Doctor Who, so he wouldn't catch this if we missed one in the Doctor Who portion.
Yeah, you missed a character that died in the episode that I didn't watch.
Yep. So then, so we find out then, so Rose is locked in this room, and the sun filter is going down, and the doctor gets there just in time to use his sonic screwdriver to raise it, and then the computer fights back and tries to put it down again, and then he puts it back up again, and we go through that whole dramatic thing.
It's all, oh, is Rose gonna die? And everyone's just like, no, she won't. It's the second episode.
You never know. They might kill.
This is this is the happy show. There's only happiness and friendship on Doctor Who.
Yeah, such as innocent people dying.
That's what I think. When I think of happiness, I think of genociding the entire race of a people.
The blue people, you mean?
Yeah.
Because so far, those are the only people who have died.
Yeah.
And
apparently, we need permission to talk.
By the way, I know Bryce didn't want to spend time on the scene from earlier with Rose and Cassandra talking, but we find out that Cassandra is not the last human. She's just the last pure human.
Yeah.
Like
pure-blooded.
Humans have mingled with other species over the years.
As you do.
Yep. I mean, look at human history if you want any evidence of that. So that's worth noting. So she is the only human. Rose and Cassandra are the only humans on this space station, but there are many humans still out there. They're just mixed with aliens.
Yeah. And they don't look quite perfectly human, I would assume.
Well, I mean, I guess it just probably depends on how much human you have in you versus how much alien.
Yeah. So, after this...
So the doctor can't get the doors open.
Can't get them open.
Once he puts the sun filter back up, he can't get the doors open. They're stuck for some reason, and so he just gives up and leaves Rose locked in this room. And then he goes back to...
would you be willing to bet that the doctor just said that the door was jammed and then just walked away just to make sure that like Rose is probably the safest when she's in that room and not walking around fondling with
Yeah,
stuff?
you don't want her to go and insult Cassandra again.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn. Might
Oh
blow
man,
up the planet.
that's an interesting theory. The doctor left her in there on purpose.
Mm.
I like that a lot.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
It
And then
kind of does.
Doctor and Jabe go into
Yeah,
the
because then
ventilation.
rather than taking Rose to
Yeah.
go and fix the space station, he takes Jabe with him.
Which makes more sense. Because
Um,
she would know the place.
and actually, I think we skipped over the scene earlier where he and Jabe went off together the first time and they found the spider droid.
And then they revealed, oh, who are your master? Oh, walk to it. Who's
yeah,
your
and
master?
they go up to
The
the adherents of the
droids.
repeated meme. They walk
Is that
up
the
to
repeated
adherent.
meme?
Yep.
Like,
I think it was.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. The
that's
adherents of the repeated meme. And then the doctor goes, no, wait, there's another layer to this. The adherents of the repeated meme are working for Cassandra. They're her slave robots, I guess. And then
Wow,
she's
wow.
like, oh, I was going to make so much money by making a hostage situation with myself being one of the hostages. I don't know how that was supposed to work. And then, well, actually, I guess that I do understand how that was supposed to work. But it didn't happen. And then she's like, my backup plan was to just kill everybody. So
yes.
even though
I have stocks in your rival companies.
yeah, she's like, I have stocks in your rival companies. So even though weapons, teleportation, and religion are forbidden here, I'm gonna teleport off of this space station somewhere else. And so she vanishes, and then the doctor and Jabe run off to save the day.
Yep.
And why, oh god, more poor planning with this space station. So first there were problems with there being the button to lower the sun filter inside the room. That was the first planning issue. Second planning issue now, the button to, I'm not sure what this button does. Does it just like turn on the air conditioning?
Yeah, the lever or
It seems
button
like that's
for it.
what it does.
And
But
it's
it's
like
on the
in this
other side of all these
complex
fan blades.
Yeah. And in order to slow them down, you need to like heat up the room, and she's wood. So
Yeah,
Jabe
it's like,
has to do that.
have you guys seen the movie Galaxy Quest? It's
No,
like
I have not.
it's like a parody of Star Trek, basically, but it's
Spaceballs?
no, that's a parody of Star Wars. But anyway, there's a scene towards the end of that movie where they have to go and shut down this thing by crawling into the bowels of the ship, and there's all of these like mashers that are trying to like kill them as they're going through, and
just arbitrarily there.
yeah, just for no reason. And you know, they're making fun of how this always happens in science fiction shows, and this scene just reminded me of that.
Oh my god.
With the doctor having to dodge all these fan blades.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
What?
So Jabe goes to hold down the lever, but of course it gets really hot, and she's made of wood, so she combusts.
She combusts.
Yep. She starts on fire and she dies, and then because she's not holding down the lever anymore, the fan blades get faster for some reason. And
and then Doctor Who searches into his inner chakras and fully accepts Buddhism as the one true faith.
You just triggered Ryan Bryce.
Yeah, you did.
What?
His name is not Doctor Who.
I did it last week.
His name is the Doctor.
So
haven't you guys ever
Mrs. Robinson.
Haven't you guys ever seen Epic Rap Battles of History? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind, it's just the Doctor. Doesn't even matter who. Who am I even talking to? Oh, yes, you.
Ryan is rapping.
I am Adolf Hitler.
Wrong one.
Same one. Same person.
I had weirdly this morning I had the Al Capone versus Blackbeard one stuck in my head. I don't know why.
So
But
Tainted Love and Epic Rap Battles of History.
Yeah, I know. It's like alternating between those two things. So anyway, yeah, the doctor, I'm not sure exactly what he does, but like with the destruction of the space station imminent, he steps through the fan blade to the switch that I don't that saves the day somehow.
And the day is saved, everyone is happy, and then
Didn't the blue guy die?
yeah, we
Good
already
God,
talked about the
Captain.
bartender.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
no, the
the
other
bartender.
Guy.
You mean the steward?
My colorblindness might be acting.
Yeah.
The fat,
I called him a bartender because I forgot his name was Stewart.
Who's the fat guy with the big head? Or not, he's not fat. He has a big head and he's like sitting down all the time.
Yeah, the
He's
Mox of Balhoun.
He died?
No, he didn't die. He was all right.
Exploded in his chair. Yeah.
No, he didn't.
What?
There is one more death. Oh, by the way, we didn't say good God, Captain, for Jay.
I'm gonna find this scene. I'm gonna watch this.
When Jay burned, we didn't say good God, Captain. But no, the Mox of Balhoun lived. It was Cassandra who eventually exploded.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a bit. But when the doctor switches off the switch, the fan blades slow down again. So I don't know what the purpose of those fan blades even is. Like, I assume they were to cool down the space station. But if that was the case, why would they slow down when he flips the switch? But I don't know. So it doesn't make any sense. It's just a plot device.
It's plot.
I also wanted to point out, and I think this might be evidence for Bryce's theory, that nobody actually let Rose out of that room.
Oh
she
my
just
God.
kind of appeared back in the main area. So I think that the doctor actually did unlock the door, and he left it open, but he told Rose that he couldn't get it open.
Just so. She'd be
so
safe and she'd be out the way.
Right, exactly. Just so she'd stay out of the way. And so that's an interesting theory. The doctor actually doesn't want Rose to be there at all.
Haha. I mean, it would make sense.
So okay, the doctor goes back and we find out that the doctor is good with teleports. He reverses the teleport that Cassandra used to escape and brings her back, and she invites them all to join the human club. You passed the test. You're all members of the human club now.
And then she dries out.
She dries out
and blows up.
Good God, Captain.
As you do. You know, when I dry up, I remember I explode as well.
Mm-hmm. So
Happens to me all the time.
Cassandra's now dead. The last human. Is everything all right over there?
How many bottles, William?
Just one.
William, how long have you been drinking at this point?
None of your business.
He
hasn't stopped from last episode.
1 second. I need to go grab a paper towel.
And
Even
3 more beers.
Even when he was a hostage, he was still drinking that whole time?
Oh yeah, they were just helping him. He asked for some more, and they just kind of gave it to him. Because, it's common hostage etiquette to provide hostage with their proper beverage.
Yeah. But by the way, there was another thing with those guys. In the earlier scene, before Cassandra left, she ordered her guards to protect her, and the doctor was like, "What are they gonna do? Moisturize me?" And then she was like, "Yeah, with acid." We're gonna moisturize you with acid.
Ooh.
Like, how did they? I'm not sure what exactly is in those tanks. Is the acid what's keeping her intact, or
Yeah.
did they switch from water to acid at some point?
Or was it just a blind threat that is
It
false?
was probably an empty threat. That's what I think.
Just, yeah. A lot of these are... I'm gonna assume that Doctor Who is gonna have way more inconsistencies based on how the shows naturally ran. And that...
Yeah, there will be some inconsistencies. Most of them get explained, but there are some like this that or they have some explanation that we can come up with on our own, at least. So we kind of reached the end of the episode. Cassandra explodes. What did you guys think of Rose told the Doctor to help her?
Yeah, he's just like, some people have
when
their
she was
time, and it's like,
drying
yeah, some people have their time. That's
and the
true.
Doctor decided to just let her die instead.
Because
What
it was
are your
her time.
thoughts on that?
I mean, it's her time. He couldn't do anything.
He could have.
No, there was nothing
could
to
have-
do. It's her
he could
time.
have-
No, it's her time. No, nothing you can do.
He could have reversed the teleport again and brought her back to her moisturizers.
Nah,
Her.
not an option.
I guess-
It's her time.
I think that she actually called those guys her surgeons. So I think that those are literally surgeons whose job it is to just keep her from
Alive.
drying out. But he could have sent her back there, but he just let her die instead. So the Doctor has a dark side, is what we learned at the end of this episode.
Nah, he's just right.
He's learned to use his anger, use his hate.
Rar XD. Ooh.
Sure. Okay, so
Ooh.
Hello.
Oh wow.
All right.
okay,
So then they go back to. She has an existential moment. The Doctor
Oh, yeah,
takes
they
her
go
back
back
to
to-
Earth.
that's right. They go back to London, and they have the
Fish and chips.
no, they just have chips, no
They just-
fish.
No, it has to be fish and chips.
No,
They
it's
never
just
mention
chips.
fish, because you're just supposed to assume. I swear.
You
that's
have to
telling
assume that it's fish and chips. I see.
Yeah.
So they had that discussion though, and that's significant backstory on the Doctor. We learn that he is the last of his kind, and his people have been destroyed along with his planet, and he is alone in the universe now. And then they get chips,
Yep. And then they get chips.
Nice.
which means French fries.
No, what? No. They mean potato chips. They're getting Lay's.
I mean, they are potatoes, and they are called chips, but they are not what we in America think of as potato chips.
Yes, they are. Exactly
No.
the same.
They get
There is
chips
no
a lot.
Exactly the same.
There is
They get
no
chips
difference.
a lot in this show. We're gonna see them eating chips, and they are not potato chips. Spoilers, sorry.
No, they're
You're just
potato
remembering
chips.
wrong.
You're just thinking about it wrong. They're still potato chips.
Oh man.
Too early for my bullshit.
Yeah, too early for your bullshit. We're we're recording this podcast so late that it's actually 10 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
So
I wonder whose fault that is. And then it can't be any of ours. It's just
yeah,
unforeseen
it's
circumstances.
one of ours, and it's not me.
Not me either. Damn it, William. It's
Oh.
all your fault.
Sorry.
William was kidnapped. It's not his
Sorry.
fault.
It's
just
his
got
fault.
back,
No, it's his
guys,
fault. He
leave
took
me
a wrong
alone.
turn.
He just got back from being held hostage. Give him a break.
No, no excuses.
So, William, as a former hostage yourself, how do you think that Rose handled being locked up in this episode?
She was awful. I was a way better hostage. The key is to stay calm. That's all. about it.
Okay, and she did not stay calm. I will
Yeah,
agree with you on that.
She
Yeah.
didn't stay calm.
And were you ever in a room by yourself with a door that was unlocked and you just didn't walk out?
all
As
time,
the
yeah.
sun was exploding.
Yep. So I also
you just
had
like
a job, so I was working as a hostage. I wasn't a
that's right.
lazy, useless piece of crap like Rose.
I see. Because you were a moisture farmer or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
Yes,
How did you
Okay.
escape?
I haven't. Still there. I had good behavior that gave me a computer.
Good behavior.
Yeah.
You-
See?
They gave you a computer and a headset so you could do this podcast with
oh,
us.
you're still there.
And they described to me the Doctor Who episode. I didn't actually watch it.
They described it to you
Yes.
in detail.
It's like Spark Notes.
But like
Don't you mean
more
Khal
in-depth.
Sparkplug?
Oh my
Goodness.
Good God, Captain.
I think that from now on we should, when we get to the Game of Thrones part, we should call Khal Drogo Khal Sparkplug.
No,
Sparkplug.
Stop it. Don't. You can't ruin a beautiful man like Khal Drogo.
Or maybe we should have called our first season of this podcast Khal Sparkplug.
You mean the character that no one knew the name of, even you forgot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do mean that.
Now we change it. So, with this being the explanation, and we don't put the explanation anywhere else.
All right. I'm done with that bit. So let's.
Do we move on now, or do we give our ratings?
I don't think there was anything that we missed in this episode. Did you guys have any other notes on it? Because I think we covered everything I wrote down.
We basically covered everything in my, from what I know.
Yeah. So, yeah, my next note is a Game of Thrones note. So let's give it our ratings. So you guys go first. So Bryce, what would you give this out of 10 sonic screwdrivers?
5. It just is so. It's so indifferent of like an episode of television that like it just kind of is there. If it was on TV and I was sitting on, like, if I was sitting on a couch but I was like in that like lazy Sunday mood where I didn't want to get up, I would watch it.
All right. Fair enough. That's an improvement from last time. Bryce gave the last episode a 3.
Yeah, the last one was really bad because it had Mickey.
So all right,
This one
so that's
automatically is better because there is no Mickey.
So the episode is working its way, well, or the episodes rather are working their way up. They're getting better so far. William, what would you give this episode? You gave the last one a 5.1, by the way.
I'd give this one a 5.5, I think.
God.
5.51.
5.51.
See, this one, I liked it, but it was, I felt like it didn't know what it wanted to do, or it was like halfway goofy.
There were so many like ideas, and none of them were fully fledged out.
So I don't know. It just seems a little strange.
All right, fair enough. And I want to say that I'm measuring this on a little bit different scale than I think William is, at least. Because William, you were saying that this is like, it's just a purely entertainment value. So like you gave Rose a 5.1 because you said 5 is completely neutral, but you were still slightly entertained by it.
Yeah, for Doctor Who, I'm doing entertainment value.
Okay.
Because I don't have appreciation for the world yet, I guess. That's
fair. And my ratings, I'm just kind of doing like, it's a measure of like 5 is still completely neutral, but it's not entertainment. It's a measure of like how many times do I go, that was a good moment, versus how many times do I roll my eyes at it. And with Rose, I rolled my eyes quite a bit. With this episode, I didn't. So I think I'm gonna give this episode a 6. 6 sonic screwdrivers.
All right, so that the show's rating's going up.
So 5.5 is our average rating for this episode, which brings the show rating to 4.77.
Hey, it's almost even. It's almost got a 50%. Almost passing.
maybe, and I think the next episode is a good one, so we'll probably bring it up to 5 or higher on the next episode.
That's where
I
you're
think.
wrong.
That's where you're wrong, kiddo.
Speaking of that,
yeah, speaking of that, let's get into Game of Thrones. So, at the end of the last episode, I gave Bran Stark a good god captain.
yeah, we
but-
both didn't say anything, but we knew full well
Yeah,
that he was
And
gonna
I
be
appreciate
fine.
you guys not spoiling that for me, because that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was a good reveal.
Yeah, it's just like
So-
you're just so convinced that he's dead. It's like we never even saw him hit the ground.
Well,
There's no skeptic
so maybe he
at
was
all.
just suspended in midair the whole time.
Ah, yes, that's why he was passed out. He got tired.
And he was in a coma for a month
Yeah,
from being tired.
that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. So we'll get to that in a bit. Bran Stark is back.
So first scene is the Dothraki.
Yeah, and my
Sir
first
Jorah
note-
Mormont.
My first note, I have to ask, they're eating horse jerky? Is that the implication there?
Yeah, they're eating
Okay.
more horse. They're dried up horse meat or horse skin or
okay.
something of the horse.
So they eat horse.
They ride.
We already established that they sleep horse. Do they breathe horse?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
yes.
All right. So they eat, sleep, and breathe horse. The Dothraki do.
Ah, yeah.
So
It is only the Dothraki way.
Uh-huh. So should we, since Game of Thrones bounces around between different places, should we maybe talk about
One
Like
place
all-
and then in one part completely. Instead
yeah,
of going,
maybe we should just talk about like the Dothraki part of this first and then move on to a different part.
Nah. The reason that's going to be problematic in later episodes when things are like
But-
going on at one place and they kind of meet up.
But it's not problematic in this episode.
Yeah, but it's good. But consistency is key, is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, we can do it whatever way. It's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it'd just be more healthy to be consistent.
So
Stay.
there was that scene with Daenerys being unhappy riding a horse and having to eat horse and
Yeah, she's all sad. Then she's got to get raped again. Aw, just normal Tuesday.
the Dothraki way.
The Dothraki way. Khal Drogo. I mean, Khal isn't a bad guy. I've never
Khal
thought he was a bad
Sparkplug.
guy. I think that Khal Drogo was just, doing what his tribe does better than everyone else. And I can respect that.
Even if it's rape.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect rape. I mean, but I'm never gonna show this to an employer anymore.
Yeah, if future employers are listening, I'm sorry.
The sarcasm is a thing, and hopefully.
So
they
I
catch
guess
on.
none of us will ever work for Kyle at this point because
Yeah.
he's the only one listening. So
Good God.
good God.
Good God, Captain, killing my career with Kyle.
All right.
Career with a K.
All right. So I feel like this podcast, like if we measured this podcast the same way that I measure Doctor Who, which is like based on how many times I roll my eyes, like this podcast
2.
would get a very low rating.
Just me on the podcast.
just Bryce's portion of the podcast.
Me.
All right, so we see back at the Stark place,
Mm-hmm.
find out that Bran is alive.
Oh,
Um,
first,
because-
Tyrion's and shit with
Oh,
the
yeah,
dog
yeah.
pen, and you meet
Tyrion-
the Hound, which is why they call that knight a dog, is because his name's the Hound.
Yep, I
Clearly.
figured that out.
Yeah.
I liked that scene, by the way, with Tyrion just slapping
Oh yeah,
Joffrey
Tyrion's
around.
amazing.
That was fun.
Smacks him in the face. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to be a like role model figure and discipline this kid, because
Yeah,
no one else is.
Yeah, clearly, And by the way, I think it was kind of implied in this episode somewhere, and I'm getting the feeling that I don't think that Joffrey. I think that he might be Jaime's child, and not Robert Baratheon's. I'm just kind of getting that sense at this point, and maybe that's true, maybe not.
All right.
But it seems like his father and his pretend father are not being good role models.
I mean, Robert Baratheon really only cares about sleeping, and fucking.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also hunting. He loves hunting. Those are like.
He doesn't like he. I feel like he has his suspicions about Joffrey too.
He is the average. He is your average like king, in that he just kind of sits there, fat, lazy, and drunk all the time, and doesn't really give a shit. But that means he won't do anything stupid.
So who were those other kids?
Oh, those are the younger Lannisters.
Okay,
and the London Baratheon Lannister kids.
So are they? Some of them are Joffrey's siblings, and some of
Yeah,
them are
all of
his
them
cousins?
are. Yeah, all of them are his siblings. Those two.
Oh, they're all his siblings.
Yeah, just
both of
those
them.
two. Well, there's only two other people on that table, right?
Right, I think so.
Yeah, those are his two siblings. The younger ones. Margaret and who was the youngest? I don't know if they said his name this episode,
They didn't.
but they said
So
Margaret's name. And Margaret is the daughter, obviously.
So those are the other children of.
And that
Cersei
scene where
and
Tyrion's
allegedly
walking
Robert.
in and like just being Tyrion.
Yeah.
I just want to
that was
pee
fun.
off the wall.
See, I was wondering about that too, and I feel like Tyrion has some other motive for going to visit the wall, but we don't know what that is yet. So I'm interested to find out.
Tyrion's one of the most entertaining characters. If you couldn't find it.
He is quickly becoming my favorite character, and
Like-
I hate the other Lannisters, but he is quickly becoming my favorite character in the show.
Yeah.
So
if you couldn't tell,
wondering
Peter
too if
Dinklage
he-
got a lot from this show, like of opportunities. Like you just see him in advertisements everywhere. He was in Infinity War. Like
Yeah, he's had a lot of success.
he's really big now, just because of this show. The
Well,
biggest dwarf you'll
he's-
ever see.
Yeah. So I was wondering too if he knows about Jaime and Cersei and what's going on there.
Oh yeah. I thought we already found that out.
I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
he already alluded to that with Jaime and Tyrion already alluded. I think they already had a conversation about that.
Okay.
And he just said it in conversation, but it was like one of those joking things, so you might have missed it. Or I could have just been like revealing something, which I've done.
Either way, it's fine because I had already kind of suspected that he knew, and I wonder if Robert Baratheon knows what's going on because I don't think. Like I said before, I think he has his suspicions about whether or not he is really Joffrey's father.
Huh.
Because he really seems to not like Joffrey very much in the brief interaction that they have in this episode.
Yeah, later on.
Yeah, later. But
To be
we'll
fair,
get to
he
that.
kind of acts like that to everyone.
Yeah, except for Ned. He really seems
Well,
to
yeah,
like
Ned is like the most respected, the guy who fought alongside him. Who doesn't love Ned? No one could hate Ned.
Ned's great.
So far, nobody does hate Ned. That's a good point. Oh, wait, actually, the what's his name who's traveling with the Targaryens, he hates Ned.
Actually, I thought it was implied that Jaime was kind of not happy with Ned. Like they kind of had a confrontation of sorts.
Jaime. I mean,
He's just
it's pretty
hoping
clear that
almost
Jaime doesn't respect Ned, like with honor and stuff, because Jaime doesn't hold things in that regard. That's just not in his moral compass.
Yeah.
along with other things.
It seems like Jaime likes only the Lannisters and nobody else.
Yeah, he's a true man of his house, quite literally. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So Cersei becomes mean once she finds out that the boy may live. Goes
Yeah.
up,
Well, because I mean, the
creepy.
boy.
Yeah.
If the boy reveals what he saw.
If Bran starts to talk, then oh
Uh,
no,
bef- Before we get to that, though.
luscious
Oh.
brotherly.
Oh well, actually, no. Sorry, I am skipping the scene. So Cersei goes and talks to
Yeah.
what's her name, Mother Stark.
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
Catelyn. It's not Caitlyn. There's no I.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be an I in Caitlyn.
I'm Michael with a B.
Michael.
Mike. I was referencing a Vine, and you made that so much better.
I hope that there's a character named Michael at some point in something.
Ah, yes.
Vsauce.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael.
B.
Michael.
Oh
So, so she goes and she's pseudo comforting Cat over Bran's fate, and the whole thing earlier was about with Tyrion and Joffrey was because Joffrey hadn't gone to offer his sympathies.
Yeah.
And
because Joffrey's a little brat.
But to be fair to him, and like I don't like him.
Yeah.
But to be fair, his role models for how to act are Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
yeah.
He doesn't have like Tyrion is the best role model that he has, and that's not even a very good role model. So
what? No, Tyrion has 0 character flaws.
Tyrion seems to have more than a few.
Nah, just drink the pain away.
Flavor.
Drink the pain away.
I think that all the characters, what they do a nice job with is so far every character is sort of deep. Like there aren't any shallow characters on this show. I don't.
Oh
think.
yeah, even with the amount of time, the lack of time they have fantastic character development.
So, I think they do a good job with the characters. But anyway, so they after the Lannisters leave with Ned Stark, or as they're leaving, I guess Jon Snow is saying goodbye to everybody because he's going to the Wall.
Yeah.
He's going to take the Black.
And then he goes to Bran, and Catelyn hates the bastard because it reminds her of Ned's failure.
Yeah, it's very apparent. If it wasn't apparent in the first episode, it's apparent now that she really hates him.
She hates the idea of him. I think she is fine with him existing, just not as a bastard, and as like, yeah. It's just really insulting to her.
By the way, who is older? Is Jon the oldest or is Robb older?
Jon.
Okay, that's what I
thought.
I
Jon's
thought it was Robb for some reason, but I don't actually.
Because it doesn't
Jon
make sense that
was born. Remember, Ned was out fighting, and then Jon was born, and then Ned came back.
Right, and
just Google this. I don't know. I'm curious.
It doesn't make sense that he would have named his son after Robert Baratheon prior to them going to war together. And if that's when Jon was born, then Jon would have to be older.
It makes sense. They were really good friends.
Yeah, I mean, they're close in age, obviously.
They were very, very close friends.
We still haven't met the youngest Stark child, by the way.
We've had glimpses of him before, I think.
Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, what? Yeah, the young boy.
Young man.
Oh no.
What?
Um. So. So he says Jon Snow is saying goodbye to everybody, to all of his siblings, except for Sansa, which was weird.
Sansa. Well, Sansa's kind of like the one Stark that doesn't act like a Stark
Belong.
because she's gonna be a princess. So she's kind of always been really, that she's bitchy
Yeah,
and bratty and
at least she's not a trampoline. So.
God damn it.
So.
Alright, and then a scene that I will say is actually quite something that we should talk about is Nymeria and Needle
Yeah, I was
being
gonna
introduced to
mention
Arya.
that.
Needle stays. That is a thing that she's able to keep, by the way, when she goes to King's Landing.
Yeah, that's good. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, it's
I
so
have
wholesome.
to say though, like I have a dog, and my
Yep.
dog listens about as well as Nymeria does. So I don't feel quite as bad. Like,
yeah. It's like
and
gloves. Gloves.
the whole thing with her like cocking her head like that when Arya's trying to tell her to
Yeah.
get the gloves. My dog does that too.
It's just like,
So
what do you
it
mean?
was relatable.
He's just giving her attention. It's like that's all she wants. She doesn't want to do anything.
Yep. So that was fun. I liked that scene. So it seems like the Stark children seem to actually, like they love Jon Snow like he's their brother,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just Catelyn that doesn't
Oh
like
yeah,
him.
and Ned likes his son a lot.
Yeah.
Catelyn is the one that's really just ashamed that she feels that like it's pretty. I think I've always interpreted it as especially in the early episodes that she feels like she's responsible for it
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Like she wasn't good enough, and it kind of reminds her that not that Ned was weak, but also she wasn't good enough. Which it's just like, yeah, it's like you can understand where she's coming from. It doesn't make it right what she does, but
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Like we
it's
said.
like it'd be understandable that she'd be pissed, but like, especially if one of her sons like is dying, and you see like the one that is your most shameful thing in life just approaches as your son is on his deathbed.
Yeah, even though it seems like they all kind of know he's going to recover at this
Yeah,
point.
everyone's just like, no, he'll be fine, but she's being a mom.
Yeah.
And because she's being a mom, that comes in handy a little later.
Yeah, it kind of saves his life, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't know, she didn't need to be there, but
yeah, she did, because
no, the dog was there the whole time.
the guy got through past the dog. Like
yeah, but once
the dog only got there in time to save her. Like, because
oh yeah,
if she hadn't been there,
no, that makes more sense.
Before
I've
the
never
wolf got
interpreted
there.
like that, as so I was just like, oh, he's just protecting Brent, right?
So before that scene, though, there's a conversation between Robert Baratheon and Ned Stark when they're on the road, and
they're on that lonely road.
The only one that they have ever known.
They don't know.
And
they actually do know where it goes, though.
They do. It goes
King's
to
Landing.
King's Landing, yeah. And
They
it's not only them because
it
they're
goes.
accompanied. It's not only them because they're accompanied by a large traveling party. So.
Well, yeah.
So it's not only them, and they don't walk alone.
Yeah, they.
But
Especially
anyway,
because they also have each other.
Yes, they have each other as well. So they have that conversation, and Robert Baratheon seems very concerned about the Targaryens, because word came in that Daenerys is married to Drogo now.
Yeah. And he's getting spooked because he's like, some people go like me, a usurper.
Yep. He's concerned. Ned seems at least outwardly not concerned.
And he's just like, no, you shouldn't worry. There's nothing to be. It's
We'll
fine.
be
It's fine.
fine.
What could
No one's
possibly go wrong?
No one's gonna stab you in the back and take your throne. That's a theory, by the way. But
Ooh.
anyway, so we get another really great scene, just like in the first episode, with Tyrion talking to Jon.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like their paths are going to diverge pretty soon, but I hope they don't.
Yeah.
I really like. Once again, this was my favorite scene in the episode.
Like Tyrion and Jon, just because
they're two very interesting characters, and
that are in their own way very, very similar but different at the same time.
Yeah.
You have a lot of like overlap and a lot of like although I'm X and you're Y, we have and there's a lot of dynamic that they can play with, and they play with it really well, and the characters, like the actors, pull it off phenomenally. Except John's actor always has that little bitch boy face in everything he does. Like, I don't know if you've seen the mockumentaries that HBO released, but he plays a tennis player in one of them, and he has the same exact expression. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I was still thinking about your comment with your X and I'm Y,
Yeah.
and I thought they converge at the origin.
Oh my god.
That's a math joke, you guys.
Wow, no one could have told. No one can tell when you say converge at the origin.
I have to explain all of my jokes, because otherwise they won't be funny.
Disagree.
Oh, you think my jokes are funny? Thank you very much.
Don't get your hopes up. Anyway, after this tangent, back to can you feel the love tonight? Which is where, because I think before they're on the road, we're back to Daenerys Targaryen getting, crying as she's getting her behind explored.
Yep.
And then she sees the eggs, and she's like, I'm determined now.
Yeah, so
she gets lessons.
She gets lessons. But before we get to that, because there was the dragon eggs were sitting like next to these candles.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if they really are pine cones, they probably wouldn't put them so close to the fire like that.
So
there goes your theory.
So your theory is debunked.
I don't think so. I don't think that they are pine cones, but I still think that they might grow on trees. They're fire resistant.
They're fire resistant.
Which makes sense
by
because the dragons breathe fire. So the dragon eggs, of course, would be fire resistant.
They grow on trees. No, but they described in this episode that the way the dragons were formed was from the moon crashing into the sun.
But that's just a myth.
A theory.
What that's not just a myth. That is 100% factual and scientifically backed.
I don't think so. I think that if anything, this episode strengthens my theory.
If anything. Oh man. So, on that note, after the butt stuff, Tyrion and Jon happen, and we're introduced to two rapists that are going to be joining Night's Watch because they didn't want to be castrated, which is like stupid in its own way, because part of the Night's Watch has been already alluded to is that you're not allowed to have coitus with anyone. Once you're part of the Night's Watch, so getting castrated actually wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because you have a choice of what you want to do in life.
Still
It's just
sounds pretty bad.
it still sounds like a bitch, but like after that, it's like okay, I still get to do my thing in life. I just can't have kids, and I won't enjoy sex as much. You can still participate in sexual activities, though. I don't know. It does seem pretty dumb that they would pick the alternative because it just seems like a worse option.
It seems like a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, but one of them loses, I think, is way worse.
Okay, that is your opinion.
Nah, it's fact, backed by scientific.
All right. So, what happened next?
What happened
Oh,
next?
this is I
Good
think the
dog.
next scene.
Good dog.
Yeah, the next scene is where the assassin, who we are basically everybody is assuming was sent by the Lannisters to kill Bran.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. That's a little bit of like a hint.
Yeah,
I guess.
and I mean, it seemed pretty obvious to me, but now, so after this exciting fight where Cat manages to hold off the assassin long enough for the wolf to get there and kill him.
Roar.
Good God, Captain.
Good God,
Good
Captain.
God, Captain.
So now she suspects the Lannisters, and
yes,
so she
suspects
wants to
them, but not only because of that, but she finds Cersei's hair in the tower.
Yeah, and you would think that like they would have been smart enough to clean that up after they pushed Bran out of the tower.
Yes.
Like they would have. I feel like
it's hair.
I mean, are they just so inbred at this point that they're just really stupid? Is that what we're supposed to be getting from the Lannisters?
You'll find that that's kind of a thing that just happens.
What,
a
they
lot
leave lots
in
of
Game
evidence?
of Thrones. No, inbreeding.
Like they're secretly having these intimate relations, and yet they leave tons of evidence behind.
Oh no, the fact that
a
there's a lot of
thing?
incest.
Well, I mean that's fine. I get.
Oh
that.
yeah,
That's
it's
part of
great. More for me.
It's part of the show. I've accepted that.
You've accepted this as fact.
So, anyway, long story short, she's going to ride out to basically try to talk to Ned. And
try to warn him.
Rob was going to do it. Rob volunteered to do it, but she said, nope, there has to be a Stark here. Yeah. I have to leave somebody behind. But, I mean, I get that Bran's in a coma and everything, but, I feel like the 6-year-old kid could have handled it.
And also his younger brother. The 11-year-old and the 6-year-old, boom.
Yeah, I mean, the
one's knocked out cold and the other one is 6, but the Stark is still present in Winterhold.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like she should have just sent Rob. That would have been safer. But anyway.
No, because the Stark makes all the decisions for Winterhold. That's why.
Well, yeah, and I mean, he's 6, but he can still make decisions.
Kill him for treason.
I think he would have done a fantastic job. I would have liked to have seen that.
I know he might be 6, but I really like his ideals, and I think that they align with what I want for this.
And also, we haven't seen him yet in the show, but anyway.
Yes. And then the next scene is, being like, yo, I want to help. I want to please Khal Drogo more.
Yep. So she gets lessons on how to do that.
She gets lessons. The lessons don't occur in this scene. That's before they do that. Then something happens. I have my notes, Knievel.
So is the show saying that if you keep raping someone, they're eventually gonna like you?
Yeah. I think that's what they're getting at. Yes.
Ah, yes.
Okay. That's good to know.
So what is the scene in between the lessons?
Was that the scene where she's talking to Rob and the others
Oh
about?
yeah, they're conniving. That's why I put Knievel in there.
Great notes.
You and your note-taking skills, Bryce.
Hey, it's
I
great.
think you should just read all of your when we get to the end of this. You should just read all of your notes aloud verbatim so that we can we
All
can
right, all right.
get some insight.
I will make sure to do that because that's pretty entertaining. So
So
after Daenerys is.
I am confused.
What?
Why? So obviously Ned is going with Robert Baratheon back to King's Landing, and Sansa is going with because she's supposed to be marrying Joffrey eventually.
What do you mean?
Why
Why is Arya there?
Why is Arya going with? Like, she should be at home still, I think. It doesn't make any sense why she's there.
I think it's because she's a lady of the house. She has to be there.
That doesn't make sense.
Because their caregiver, the one that oversees them, is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she just... It just doesn't... It's weird that they didn't make any mention of that.
Yeah.
Of why she's there. I don't know. So we meet what's his name? The guy who had his tongue cut out by the old king.
Mhm.
One
of the knights, it's the executioner, the royal executioner.
Right. Yeah.
He's a meanie. Then the Hound is behind. The Hound's pretty entertaining there.
Mhm.
With Sansa. And then Joffrey and Sansa are being all lovey-dovey, like
and they leave Lady. They leave Lady behind, the wolf.
They leave Lady. Lady is a nice doggo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
nothing
theory
bad will ever happen to her.
I have a theory about these wolves that I'll get to a little later. But they are wandering off and
then
they're drinking wine. They're drinking wine.
Getting drunk. And Joffrey is being Joffrey.
And they find Arya having
the butcher's boy.
Sword fight with the butcher's boy, yeah.
Yes.
And
it's like, I want to be a knight.
And
then Joffrey is Joffrey's being the maniacal, like, sadist he is.
Mhm.
And Arya does a good old, I'm gonna save him. Oh no, it's the boy's way older and stronger than me and has a sword. This is a bad decision. And then Namira's like, no, it wasn't. Ya eat.
Yep. So Nymeria saves the day. She saves Arya from danger.
And in turn kills Lady.
Yep. And they run off, and there's that they go and hide in the woods, and Arya
says Nymeria off because she doesn't want Nymeria to die. So Nymeria is now gone. She's in the woods frolicking as a direwolf on her own. I'm all alone, got no one to find me. Shrek 1.
So I also noticed that Arya was fighting with her left hand with the stick.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
And then when she picked up Joffrey's sword as well. But when she throws a rock at Nymeria to chase her away, she throws it with her right hand.
Oh, ambidextrous.
Perhaps.
The theories. The theories that matter.
Just poor direction.
One of the two. Probably the more likely one.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter what one she throws the rock with because it's just a rock.
So, anyway, that was an interesting thing that I noted.
And then,
I also noted that when they were searching for her, they were all shouting her name, and they were pronouncing it the way that I pronounce it.
Arya?
Arya, not Arya. So I feel like I'm okay to pronounce it that way from now on.
Yeah, I
Um,
did a lot too. But Arya, I think what it's supposed to be. Yeah. But I don't think everyone pronounces it that.
so
Alright, so
what
they,
what came after this? They
uh,
found her. They brought her before the king.
yeah. And they're like, he hurt me. They beat me up. And then she's like, liar, I did not do that. Sansa's like, I didn't see anything. And Arya's like, no, you're a little bitch, you liar. And Baratheon's just like, you got beat up by a girl?
Yeah, I know. And that's where I was thinking, like, I feel like he has his suspicions about this kid being his like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, one of the two.
Like, maybe he's just not the best fatherly figure. Which is, sensible, I feel.
I got like emotionally invested at this point. I was getting really angry at Sansa in this
Sansa.
scenario. Yeah, it's like, come on,
Yeah.
stand
Nah,
up for your sister.
Nah,
It's like understandable.
I know that
character-wise, though.
Sansa would have leaned towards Joffrey in this age of this. I think in that scene, if she would have leaned towards the side, but she's supposed to be that like character, so I thought that was fine. I didn't get rationally angry, even though because it gave us a chance to see Arya when she's mad, and that's amazing. Because no one likes it when Arya's mad, except for Arya.
Well, and Sansa's in a tough position there.
Yeah, she's like,
You
but
know.
my boyfriend, but my sister. I don't want to do anything. I'm just gonna cry, which is the
Yeah.
most like.
And then she got her own wolf killed. Karma's
Yeah,
a bitch.
yeah. Lady didn't do anything. No. And then Ned just walks over to the dog and is all sad. And when he
Yep.
kills the dog, Bran wakes up.
Yep. Good God, Captain.
Good.
God, God,
Do we do it for doggos too? Okay,
Yeah.
doggos are
Yes.
people too. They're
Dogs
better
are
than people.
people too.
Dogs are better
Dogs
than
are people. I mean the Hound, right?
Yeah, the
So
and then the hound's just walking by with the butcher dead. He's like, "Wait, you just hunt down the boy?" Yeah, he ran, not very fast.
Ep, good God, Captain. The poor
the,
butcher's
the
boy.
hound's great. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's the
So
episode.
we did miss the point where Daenerys, because she got her lessons and then
Yeah.
she put those lessons to
Oh
use.
yeah, she
in
dummy
another
mommy.
scene. I don't know that we need to really talk about that,
But it's important. It grows their relationship pretty much. They're like, Drogo's then now like, oh shit, I made the right decision.
yeah, I guess that I was right that if you just rape someone enough, they'll like you.
Oh
Um,
shit, let's try this some more.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the episode. So I did have a theory about these dire wolves though,
Yeah.
because we saw it twice in this episode, where first Bran was in danger, and the wolf came and saved him, and then Arya was in danger, and the wolf came and saved her. So I like as I mentioned before, I have a dog, and my dog will try to protect our house from intruders. She normally has a high pitched bark, but when she thinks there's an intruder, she'll do a low pitched bark in an effort to scare them away. The problem is that like at least once a day, she'll forget that I'm home and mistake me for an intruder and bark at me. So like I feel like these wolves would be no different. So how many times has there been a false danger to one of the children and somebody got killed by a dire wolf because of it? I feel like it must have happened by this point.
So what you're telling me is that the direwolves aren't as. What if they're just better at training their dogs than you?
I feel like when Cersei was like, yeah, the other dire wolf has to die, it's because it's already killed like 20 of their peasants.
It's like,
Because
all right, this
there's
is
been-
its 50th casualty.
Yeah,
I think
like
in
this is not the first time. Like Joffrey was just the last straw. Like these wolves have
Nah.
been killing our people the entire time.
I think it adds to the intensity if we just know that it's the first instance. That lady didn't actually do anything and Namira hasn't done anything. But if any, I think of the direwolves are gonna be like the mean one, Nymeria was probably gonna be the one that was.
Yeah, I feel like Lady has actually killed like 40 people already.
Lady is just a cold-blooded killer, even though she's
Yeah,
like
and
the
it's like
sweetest of the doggos.
this was long overdue. Like Sansa was in false danger numerous times, and Lady just killed people, thinking that there was real danger.
Oof. Oof.
I don't know. It just
All right.
seems like how
So-
could that not have happened?
Yeah. Well, she was locked up on a chain. Always.
I don't think that would have held her.
But it did. She always
Like,
had it
because
on.
she was on a leash.
You see, if it
and
didn't help
Sansa
her.
Sansa was walking her on a leash.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she could have broken Sansa's grip if she just pulled.
But I don't think she would.
If she thought there was danger, she would.
Nah.
We've established these wolves are loyal to their masters.
Yeah. Loyal to the point where they wouldn't hurt their masters. Nah.
No, but they would hurt anyone trying to hurt their masters. Or that they thought was trying to hurt their masters.
Out of
Like-
sight, out of mind.
Like, particularly with Arya, like, she gets into danger, it seems, a lot. Or at least,
What?
like,
Nah.
fake danger. Like, she's acting like one of the boys. She's having these sword fights.
She's the top
So, like,
boy. I just
why
wanna
didn't-
be a knight, but I'm a grill. Like,
Why-
girls can be knights in this, in Game
But-
of Thrones. That is.
But why didn't Nymeria attack the butcher's boy who was
Why?
swinging a stick at Arya?
But because she was enjoying it, like you can
But-
see.
What about when he hits her on the shoulder with a stick when Sansa and Joffrey get there? Like, Nymeria should have attacked him at that point.
I think you're reading way too into this.
I think I am.
All right. No, fair enough. I guess
So anyway, that's
that is
that's
the
why
episode.
this episode doesn't make total sense to me, but I'm willing to let it go. So I
Okay.
guess all that's left is to rate this.
Yeah.
Are we still doing dragon eggs?
Dragon eggs. We could do incestual babies.
Oh my god.
7.5 incestual.
I think I'd like to stick to dragon eggs.
I mean, either way, they're all offspring.
Yeah, I guess. And I suppose that the dragons could be incestual babies too.
Yes.
So
It's a pie chart. I mean, no, Venn diagram, that one.
a Venn diagram.
Of incestual babies
I-
and dragon eggs.
I saw a meme recently that was a picture of a Venn diagram, and on one side there was a picture of a
Incestual
duck-
babies?
No, it was a duck playing a guitar. On the other side was a beaver playing a keyboard, and in the middle was a platypus playing a keytar. I thought that was funny. But anyway,
But anyway.
so the Kingsroad, let's
Yeah.
rate it. So I think it was better than the last one,
Alright.
a little bit, but not by a ton. So I gave
Yeah.
the last one a 6.5, and I'm thinking I'm going to give this one a 7. Again, I would probably give it a higher rating if I knew the world.
If you. In like
But-
the. Yeah.
Like, I'm still at this point, there's still a lot about this world that I don't know. So I'm just going to stick with a 7 for now.
Alright.
Bryce?
I think I'm going with another, like. I gave the last one an 8, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I think that still holds up. Like, the show's quality doesn't drop off. This is just adding to the story. It just kind of does everything well. I feel minimal logical fallacies in this, and everything is still linking up and
All right.
still
fair
being
enough.
very expository. Alright,
Okay.
William? Chum?
Do we remember what the last one I gave was?
You gave it a 7.
I'd probably give this one like a 7.5. Slightly better.
Yeah.
So
All
I
right.
enjoyed this one though.
All right.
Good character
So
interaction.
7.5 is the average then for this
this one.
episode. So
Nice.
so far, Game of Thrones still kicking Doctor Who's ass.
As it should.
There will
Everything's in
be
order.
some better Doctor Who episodes, but we haven't seen one yet. So
We're trusting you, right?
so next week's Doctor Who episode is good. So it's next week. The Doctor Who episode is called The Unquiet Dead, and the Game of Thrones episode is called Lord Snow. So I'm thinking we call our episode The Unquiet Lord Snow.
The Unquiet Lord Snow.
Well, what else are we gonna call it though?
The Unquiet Lord.
Okay, I guess we could do
The
that.
Unquiet Snow.
The Unquiet Snow. I kind of like that actually. We could do that.
You know what? We could do many things.
I'm still just looking forward to podcast number 4, the greatest title that we will ever have on this podcast.
Which one was that?
Cripples, Aliens, Bastards, London, Broken Things, and World War III.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. It can't get better than that.
So no, it can't get better than that. But we have to get through the Unquiet Snow first.
All right.
So I guess with that,
Yeah. This
do you
episode.
guys have anything? Do you guys have anything to add about either of these shows?
I think we're all.
I think we're good.
We're good. Nothing else.
William, thanks again for being our guest.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
hope
for our
that-
special guest.
I hope that the rest of your captivity goes okay.
Yeah, man.
It's shaping up pretty well.
Are
Moving up in the world?
Yeah.
Do you have decent compensation for your work?
No.
No.
They give me time off, that's all.
I get weekends, 50%.
Today's a holiday, so they weren't heavy.
But so they celebrate Memorial Day in whatever country you're being held captive.
Syria, yes.
Yes.
Syria. They celebrate Memorial Day in Syria.
Well, of course. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Well, I
Everyone
assume
loves
Syria-
America.
Yeah. Everyone's like, man, we love those troops.
Yeah.
Especially,
Yeah. They definitely love our troops in Syria.
Well, actually, though, Memorial Day is to honor the
The-
troops who have died. So
That's why
Maybe-
they celebrate it.
That's why, yeah, they celebrate their kills. Oh no, that's so bad.
End it quick. End it.
Kill
Well,
confirmed.
we should. Okay,
End it quick. All right. Bye.
Lid.